Was the American Civil War a battle for human freedom or a war over political control? It's one of the most hotly debated questions in U.S. history. On the surface, the Civil War seems straightforward. The North wanted to end slavery, the South wanted to keep it. But look deeper, and you'll find layers of political tension, economic rivalry, and clashing visions of government power. Was the Union fighting to free enslaved people or to assert federal dominance over rebellious states? Was the Confederacy only defending slavery or resisting what it saw as federal overreach? The truth, like most history, is far more complex than slogans and statues suggest. Slavery was undeniably the central issue that lit the fuse. By the 1850s, America was split. Northern states had largely abolished slavery while the Southern economy depended on it. The expansion of slavery into new Western territories became a flashpoint. Southern leaders feared that without slavery, their agricultural economy would collapse. The election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860, who opposed the spread of slavery, was seen as a direct threat. Secession quickly followed. Though some Southerners argued it was about states' rights, what they wanted most was the right to own human beings. Slavery wasn't just part of the conflict, it was the core. Yet the Confederacy also rallied behind the idea of states' rights. Southern leaders claimed the federal government had grown too powerful. They argued that each state had the right to govern itself, including whether to allow slavery. The Constitution, they said, gave limited power to Washington. But critics point out that the only right truly in danger was the right to enslave. Still, this tension between centralized power and state autonomy had long existed, even in the IZI North. The Civil War became the ultimate showdown between these competing ideas of governance. Beyond slavery and politics, economics played a silent but powerful role. The northern states were rapidly industrializing, building factories, railroads, and banks. The South remained rooted in plantation agriculture, exporting cotton largely to Europe. Tariff disputes further deepened resentment. Southern leaders believed Northern policies favored industry and punished agriculture. They felt economically cornered. This wasn't just a war of ideology, it was a war between two economic systems. One future looked like steel and steam, the other looked like cotton fields and chain gangs. In many ways, the war was also about who would shape America's economic destiny. When Lincoln took office, his main goal wasn't to abolish slavery, it was to preserve the Union. He feared that letting Southern states secede would destroy American democracy. At first, he even avoided attacking slavery directly to keep border states loyal. But as the war progressed, Lincoln realized that ending slavery could weaken the South and give the war a moral edge. By 1863, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing enslaved people in rebel territories. The North's war had transformed, from preserving unity to delivering justice. But this shift wasn't immediate. It was a journey through blood and politics. To understand the war's true cause, you only have to read the South's own words. Several Confederate states issued formal declarations of secession, and they mentioned slavery repeatedly. Mississippi, for example, declared slavery the greatest material interest of the world. They weren't vague. They believed slavery was essential to their survival and identity. Even Confederate Vice President Alexander Stephens said the new government was founded on the great truth that black people were inferior and meant to be enslaved. These aren't modern interpretations. They're the Confederacy's own admissions, carved into history. The Civil War ended in 1865, but the question of its meaning still echoes. Over 600,000 lives were lost. The Union was preserved. Slavery was abolished. But racial inequality and regional mistrust persisted. Reconstruction failed to bring real justice. Monuments, school books, and politics kept the debate alive. Was the war truly about states' rights, or was that just a cover for slavery? Today, historians overwhelmingly agree. Slavery was the main cause, though federal authority and economics were part of the larger picture. What the war truly represented was a battle over America's soul. The Civil War wasn't just a 19th century tragedy. It shaped modern America. The question of federal versus state power still drives political debates. The legacy of slavery still influences racial justice struggles, and history is still being weaponized by those who want to distort its meaning. Understanding what the Civil War was really about isn't just academic. It's vital to confronting present-day issues. Because how we interpret the past determines how we shape the future.